So the devotion today is on Palm Sunday, and we just celebrated Palm Sunday a couple of days ago, and it is a significant time for us in terms of the Christian year and specifically Holy Week. Palm Sunday launches our entry into Holy Week as we begin to reenact many of the main events of Jesus' life during this last week. Now, is Palm Sunday significant? And the answer is yes. How one of the ways I know that it is significant is this: the triumphal entry, which is what Palm Sunday celebrates. It is recorded in all four of the Gospels. It's recorded in all four of the Gospels. I was looking at my Harmony of the Gospels this morning, which is a book that it puts the various parallel texts side by side. And you find the triumphal entry of Jesus into Jerusalem in all four of the Gospels. And it's not just interesting, it shows the importance of this event. And so this morning, I was just noticing that, the different ones give a little bit, more information many times as far as the actual event goes. And I would just, encourage you to look that up sometime if you have the opportunity. If you have the opportunity, look that up sometime. And let me give you the references this morning. The triumphal entry can be found in Matthew 21, verses 1 through 11. It can be found in Mark 11, 1 through 11. It's also found in Luke 19, verses 28 through 44. And the triumphal entry is also found in John 12, 12 through 19. Now, if you wanted to, I would encourage you to look at those different accounts and maybe make a list of the differences in those accounts, because there are differences in those accounts. When I say differences, I would say that one adds information that the other doesn't, as so often happens in the Gospels when there's parallel accounts. One tells us a little bit more than the other told us, or one gives us a general statement about an event and the other Gospel zooms in on it. So those accounts are in all four of the Gospels. Now, when it comes to Palm Sunday, how did Palm Sunday develop? Now, once again, we know that by the 4th century, Palm Sunday was a part of the worship during Holy Week. We have a very early text from a pilgrim who was there, who took very detailed notes of the celebrations in Jerusalem. Egeria, Egeria, who lived in the 4th century and took those notes. And it was while Cyril of Jerusalem was bishop from 349 to 386. And so Palm Sunday developed, and it developed separately from Christ's Passion. Now, these two celebrations in modern times have been brought together so that we celebrate triumphal entry at the beginning of the service with the Palm Sunday procession. And then as we get into the scripture readings, we shift things over to Christ's Passion. And that's something that's done in modern times. Initially, they were celebrated separately. The Passion of Christ was actually celebrated on the Saturday before Palm Sunday. And then on Palm Sunday, the emphasis was the triumphal entry. And so it developed, and it developed separately for much of the church's history, but then the merger happened in more modern times during the modern liturgical reform. And so now the two are brought together, and the official name for Palm Sunday is the Palm Sunday of the Passion of Christ. The Palm Sunday of the Passion of Christ. And it's interesting that the two came together. I will say this, for me personally, as a pastor, as one who celebrated this, especially since we also celebrate Maundy, Thursday, and Good Friday, I'm not only tempted, I'm likely to separate Palm Sunday back out from Christ's Passion. And I almost did it this past Palm Sunday, and I'm thinking very seriously of doing it next year, and I probably will do it next year. Separate Palm Sunday, because I think Palm Sunday should be the celebration of Christ's triumphal entry, which launches Holy Week. And then with Maundy, Thursday, Good Friday, we have more of the celebration of Christ's Passion. So where in the Christian year is Palm Sunday? It launches Holy Week. It launches Holy Week, which is the celebration of Christ's last days on this earth. And so Palm Sunday then has a specific purpose for us in this. What is Palm Sunday? Palm Sunday commemorates Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem, and it marks Christ's suffering and death. And once again, this is more of a modern, really a modern unifying of two different themes. And I've kind of already given you my opinion on that. But in one service, worshipers descend from the joyous mountaintop to the dark valley. It really starts off with Christ's entry into Jerusalem and the celebration of that. And then the service takes a turn, a definite turn on Palm Sunday, then to Christ's Passion. And we enter into the dark valley. Why celebrate Palm Sunday? Why celebrate Palm Sunday? Palm Sunday provides a gateway for Jesus into the final events of his earthly life. And so we recount those events, and those events are very important for us because it's a gateway also for Christians to enter more deeply into our union with Jesus Christ in his suffering and death. And so with the Christian year, the intent is for us to enter more deeply into the life and the death, the suffering of Christ. So for all the darkness of Christ's passion, the triumphal entry, though, it subtly hints at the victory of Easter. And that's one of the reasons I would like to separate out Palm Sunday from the Passion of Christ, because Palm Sunday gives us a hint of what's to come on Easter Sunday, when the gates are thrown wide open and it's a full celebration of the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And so just as Jesus persevered through the events that he experienced, when you think about all that he experienced during Holy Week, another purpose of this is not just to enter into those events, but to discover spiritual strength in identifying with Jesus' humanity and weakness. As we go through this time on Palm Sunday and as we celebrate it, we see the suffering that Jesus experienced in his humanity. And so as we look at that for ourselves, hopefully it strengthens us to know that in our suffering, we experience Christ more deeply. In our weakness, his strength is perfected in us. What happens after Palm Sunday? Well, after this Sunday come several significant events, and the most significant, of course, are Maundy, Thursday, where the Last Supper is instituted, Good Friday, where Jesus experiences his execution, Holy Saturday, where he is in the tomb, and then, of course, Easter Sunday. But before that, even, we have Holy Monday through Wednesday. And those aren't talked about a lot. Those are the often neglected days of Holy Week. And so tomorrow I'm going to talk about Holy Monday through Wednesday and give them a little bit of attention at least, because they're so often ignored. But in the early church, they had certain scripture readings and other things that centered around Holy Monday through Wednesday. So I will talk about that a little bit tomorrow. And I would just like to say, thank you for listening this morning.